Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles, looking at the Hollywood sign to be specific. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Agree to Disagree here on TheNewAmericanMedia.com, part of the TNAM radio network, because the news always matters. I am your host, Brian Engelman. Thank you very much for joining us. It is a happy day. It is a good day. It is a celebratory day. We are celebrating the 3-year anniversary of the New American Media. 3 years. 3 years, and we encourage anybody in the Los Angeles area to come out and join us. Maybe send us a direct tweet, send us a message, shoot us an email, however you know us, however you feel like reaching out and saying hello. Not in the way you reach out to Michael Hastings or Andrew Breitbart. Oh, no. Those were all natural causes. Right. Where's my tinfoil hat? I don't quite buy the fact that those were accidents. But anyway, if you would like to reach out and say hello, we're going to be at an event I want to tell you a little bit about real quick before we get the show started. We're going to be at UCLA celebrating two things. Celebrating the birth of the New American Media. And we're going to be celebrating the birth of your host. So, birthdays all around, but I want you to check this event out. It's the United We Stand Festival, May 10th, 2014. That would be about, what is that? That's 8 days away. So yeah, it's next Saturday. I want you to check this out. Awake the Nation. It's the United We Stand Festival at UCLA's Pauley Pavilion, Los Angeles, California, May 10th, 2014. So yeah, 7 days, 23 hours, 41 minutes, 53 seconds. And I want to tell you who's going to be here. This thing is going to be really cool. Really looking forward to seeing some of these people that we've interviewed, seeing them in person again, and meeting some people that we haven't had the chance to speak with yet. Abby Martin from Russia Today, looking forward to meeting with her. Amber Lyon, Emmy Award-winning whistleblower. Looking forward to talking with her. Abby Martin, she's from Russia Today and Breaking the Set. There's a whole bunch of people. I can't tell you everybody. Ben and Jerry. Ben Swann. Of course, Ben Swann has been a guest on our show multiple times, so we're looking forward to meeting him in person for the first time. Christina Tobin, founder and chair of Free and Equal Elections. Dan Johnson, founder of Panda. Of course, Panda. People Against NDAA. We know Dan. He's a Bowling Green State former BGSU student, just like me, just like your humble correspondent. Wu-Tang Clan members are going to be there. Dennis Kucinich, look forward to talking with him. Who else we got here? There's a whole bunch. Gary Johnson, I think he's teleconferencing. Immortal Technique. I am really amped to speak with this man. If you're not familiar with him, Felipe Andres Coronel, better known by the stage name Immortal Technique. You gotta listen to this guy talk. He is an interesting character. I just gotta say, I like him a lot. Larry King. I mean, come on. To me, Larry King. Luke Rudkowski with We Are Change. Marianne Williamson. Best-selling author, independent congressional candidate. Who else we got? Public Enemy. Chuck D. Professor Griff. Hell yeah, I'm in. Rosa Corey, from author of Behind the Green Mask, UN Agenda 21 Exposed. Yes, please. Sheriff Richard Mack. Yeah, I mean, there's pages and pages of this stuff, but I'm going to encourage you to come on out, meet us. We're probably, and I keep saying we, and there's a reason for that, because I believe that we're going to be joined with Blake the Eccentric Walley, who will be coming in from Las Vegas. We went out to meet with Blake Walley when we covered the Bundy Ranch. What was that, a couple of weeks ago now? And he's going to be here. So that'll be fun. So we are going to be out there. So come on out, meet us, check out this event. I mean, come on, Wu-Tang Clan, Public Enemy, former presidential candidates, really great names in the independent media community are going to be here. And this is pretty much, what does it say? I want to tell you real quick the about, so I don't screw this up with my own interpretation of what this is about. Doors open at 4, show is 5 to 10. It's time to put the power back into the hands of we the people. Free and Equal will host the United We Stand Festival Tour, kicking off at UCLA's Pauley Pavilion May 10th, 2014. The UWS Festival Tour will showcase music as well as panels of musicians, actors, writers, journalists, and other speakers discussing key issues such as the Patriot Act, NDAA, NSA, war on drugs, drones, foreign policy, war, GMO food, internet freedom, election reform, honest media, music and art, central banks, corporatism, education, student leadership, the environment, spirituality, oneness, and more. The events will be recorded and broadcast globally. The momentum of the tour will help unite and empower voters to build a base of supporters for young people running for local office in 2014. Our Free and Equal debate initiatives and election assistant app will also help support new candidates for office, especially those running for congressional seats. And then they say keynote speakers, legendary Larry King, Ben and Jerry, Dennis Kucinich, Marianne Williamson, David Bronner. Roster of musicians who support political and social activism include Public Enemy, Chuck D, DJ Lord, and Professor Griff. Where's Flavor Flav? Come on, where's Flavor? Founders of Wu-Tang Clan, Rooftop Revolutionaries, Immortal Technique. Man, I'm so excited for that. Let's see. Through the power of music, the youth will wake up and demand a peaceful, powerful, and positive solution-based movement. Okay, that didn't say much, I think. Join us and spread the word. Free and Equal Elections Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit, nonpartisan grassroots organization whose mission is to shift the power back to the individual voter through edumacation. So, yeah. Tickets are only, get this, $17.76. What happened in 1776? $17.76. Come on out next week. Meet us at UCLA. So anyway, when I say we, I mean that it's going to be Blake and I. So let's get him into the program. Blake is a radio host in his own regard. And we'll bring him in to talk about the stuff that has been going on this week.
Hello.
Blake, welcome to the program.
Greetings, Brian. How are you?
Greetings. That's from your ad.
Eccentric.
Yeah, I'm Blake the Eccentric. You might remember me from such films as The President's Neck is Missing and Smoke Yourself Thin and Get Confident, Stupid. Those are all Troy McClure from The Simpsons. Anyway, Blake, welcome to the program, man. Real quick, Blake is a radio host. You can find him every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday from noon to 1:30 p.m. Pacific. He's on a website called freedomizerradio.com. So it's freedomizer, it's a fake word, freedomizerradio.com. And you can check him out there. And let's see, homepage is eccentricperspective.com. On Twitter, you got to follow all the news he's finding there. It's at eccentric99. And on iTunes, you can subscribe to his podcast by searching Eccentric Perspective. Did I leave anything out there? I don't think so, Blake. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brian. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, well,
As always.
It might be a pleasure to be here, meaning Los Angeles. I was just telling everybody about the United We Stand Festival. You getting excited for the road trip?
I certainly am.
What are you looking forward to at this event? Because I'm encouraging people, because this is our 3-year anniversary show. We've been in existence for 3 years now, so I'm celebrating our anniversary for the New American Media and my birthday in the next week here. It's all at the same time, so it's just a big birthday extravaganza. But what are you looking forward to about this United We Stand Festival?
Well, it's funny you ask, because I really haven't looked at it in about a month or so. I know it was a big event coming down in L.A., and I had seen about it, I had heard about it, and some of the people that are there sounds exciting, and that's all I remember. It just circled on my calendar, and I'm ready to go. But specifically, I haven't found one. You would be far more up to date on that.
Yeah, I just gave the highlights: the Abby Martin, the Amber Lyon, the Ben Swann, Wu-Tang Clan, Dan Johnson, Dennis Kucinich, Immortal Technique, Gary Johnson. I mean, it's just going to be a neat program. I'm Luke Rudkowski. It's going to be interesting to meet all these people, get some interviews. It's going to be crazy. It's only 5 hours long. We're probably going to get there a little early, and we're just encouraging everybody to come out and meet us at the Pauley Pavilion May 10th. at UCLA. So about a week away. But yeah, man, we'll definitely try to get some cool interviews and put that stuff out there for people to check out. And of course, Blake was on the scene, even more so than myself, at the Bundy Ranch. You can check out all those videos at thenewamericanmedia.com. We went out to cover it, put a couple days in, and then I had to leave, but it's in Blake's backyard, so we went an additional weekend, and you need to check out the coverage. You can see Blake's videos at thenewamericanmedia.com. You can subscribe to youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. A whole bunch of videos posted there. On Twitter, we're at American_media_, and on Facebook, search The New American Media, with spaces in between and like the page, and you can see all of Blake's work that he has done over there, which was good as well. So, Blake, what in
you should do it on the internet or on your computer, because for whatever reason it seems to be difficult to access on a mobile device unless you have Wi-Fi. And I actually tried pulling it up on my Xbox the other day, and I couldn't get it to work. I couldn't get the sound on it. So it won't work on the YouTube out of your devices there. I don't know. Sensors in action, very strange. That's on that video. I did a little man on the street there. The rest of your videos seem to work just fine, Brian. I found it a little suspicious that mine wouldn't work in a couple different formats. I
think you could call it Man on the Sand.
Fair enough.
Because it really was. It was just a whole bunch of dust.
The climate's a little bit different up by the ranch, but yes, for the most part, it is pretty dry desert sand out here in Vegas.
Man on the sand. But
I like it, though.
Yeah, I mean, definitely check out those videos. But you know, let's kind of go to this week. What's been going? You know, who is that guy that filled in for the Daily Show? Now he has the show on HBO. Do you know who I'm talking about? Oliver, maybe? John Oliver?
John Oliver, yeah.
What was the name of his show? It says Last Week Tonight or something. It's
something like that, yeah, because it's probably another kind of a highlight weekend show to my knowledge. I don't get HBO, but I did catch one of his interviews he did have an interview last week that did get some press attention. A couple articles, some videos, little Keith Alexander.
No, our favorite.
I do know that.
Yeah,
one of our favorites.
No, I just think it's funny because for 3 years we've been doing this show on Fridays. You know, it's called the Unhappy Hour, Cleveland-based sports show, and Agree to Disagree. But it's you know, pretty much once a week we get together and talk about what happened, and it's kind of funny because the Sunday morning shows used to, you know, do that as well. They'd bring in all these recycled hack politicians that can't, you know, just megalomaniacal characters that can't see enough of their face, their mug on TV. But the audiences are starting to turn away from that, and I think it's funny that HBO just named it so accurately. Hey, here's all the news from last week tonight. So anyway, I just got a big kick out of it. But I just kind of want to bounce it over to you now, like just kind of go over some of the stuff that's been going on this week. For me, I know what my story of the week is, obviously, but I just want to get your point of view before I open my mouth anymore.
Yeah, I think there really just is one major story going on this week. I'm actually going to try to pull that up right now, looking at my Twitter feed, because I'm usually pretty up to date with all of the news highlights. So I'm checking. So let's see, the week started with the 27th, 28th.
Well, I'll tell you what, we could do this, because I have a hunch where you're going. I have about a 3-minute and 20-second clip that I could play to kind of give us some background on. Now, we did no show prep. Of course, only one important story happened this week in the news as far as Blake and I are concerned. I'm going to guess it's Clippers owner Donald Sterling. So here's the audio. No, I'm just kidding. It's Benghazi, right. Everybody.
No, I was just about to say that, yeah.
I know.
So that's the story the press would like to cover of the week, and it was certainly a big deal. But
well, of course, it's perfect. It's an old white guy who says racist stuff. We got to cover that incessantly, nonstop, right. And we need to ignore this Benghazi thing where people are dead. But while you pull up the tweets real quick, let me play this to give some people some background a little bit. This is Representative Jason Chaffetz, Republican from Utah, questioning Brigadier General Robert Lovell, retired, about the September 11th, 2012 Benghazi attack. And I just want you to hear this, and then we'll toss it back to Blake with some articles pulled up to give you a little bit further insight on this.
Mr. Chairman, the scandal that is here, that some choose to ignore as a phony scandal, is the fact that the CIA station chief, The military themselves. You have the person sitting in front of us who's the head of intelligence. He's looking at the intelligence. They come to the conclusion that it's Ansar al-Sharia. And then you also have the Department of State telling the Libyans that it was Ansar al-Sharia. None of them think it's a video. None of them. The military, the CIA station chief, the department, all of them. The facts at the time, Mr. Chairman, the facts do not point to a video. That only comes from the White House. What was going on in the room, General? Our people are under attack. There are people dying. What is the military doing?
Desperately trying to gain situational awareness in an area where we had a dearth of it.
Were they moving to the sound of the guns?
Let me just pause right there. I really just want to play this in its entirety, but I need to give you the picture here. This retired general, Robert Lovell, he looks like he's going to leave this hearing and put a gun in his mouth. He looks. I mean, I'm not trying to clown around here. He looks sick to his stomach, Blake.
Yeah.
Did you have a chance to see this? Because I mean, he.
Oh yeah, that was great. It was a great video. It was one of the great pieces. Definitely, the Chaffetz is that's a major highlight, and of course, Jay Carney getting grilled by some of the White House pressers.
Oh, maybe I could pull that one up too. Let me pull that up while we play the rest of this.
Sure.
So, some more Jason Chaffetz and retired Brigadier General Robert Lovell.
They doing what they were trained to do, or were they sitting around waiting for the State Department and Hillary Clinton to call them up and say, do something? What did they actually do?
We sent a Predator drone overhead to be able to...
Did we do enough, General?
Sir.
Your professional opinion, you're retired. Yes, sir. I know you care deeply about this.
Yes.
What was the mood in the room? What was the feeling? Was it to save our people?
There was desperation there to be able to...
It was what?
There was desperation there to gain situational awareness and to be able to do something to save people's...
But did they actually do it? Did they actually do it? These three actions that we talk about, a fast team. Fast team's they're not even trained to go into engage into a fight. Right. The other force they talk about is coming from the United States of America. We had assets there in Europe. Did they actually go to the sound of the guns? Did they actually go into Benghazi?
No, sir, those assets did not.
Why not?
Basically, there was a lot of looking to the State Department for what it was that they wanted, and in the deference to the Libyan people and the sense of deference to the desires of the State Department in terms of what they would like to have.
Did they ever tell you to go save the people in Benghazi?
Not to my knowledge, sir.
We didn't run to the sound of the guns. They were issuing press releases. We had Americans dying. We had dead people. We had wounded people. And our military didn't try to engage in that fight. Would you disagree with that?
The gentleman's time has expired. The gentleman may answer on any of the questions if you didn't think you got enough time to answer fully.
4 individuals died. Sir, we obviously did not respond in time to get there.
Could we have?
The gentleman's time has expired. Go ahead.
We may have been able to, but we'll never know.
Because we didn't try.
I thank the gentleman.
Yeah, he looks like he's ready to throw up. And this story's so disgusting to me. You know, it's anybody can make a mistake. You know, especially in war and when things get heightened and escalated. Horrible things happen. That's why you always want to avoid war when you can, unless you're an evil son of a bitch. But this story has always been important to me because I've never been able to understand. Okay, so there was a mistake made. Maybe you didn't have enough security. Maybe you ignored the cables that they were sending in. At least you send a recovery team in or someone as quickly as possible to get there as quick as you can to either recover bodies or save their lives, and that was never done in this case. And I don't care about the talking points. Well, who said it was a video? I mean, I do care, but this disgusts me because I have friends and family that are in the military, and if they were left behind like this, I couldn't even imagine how I'd be feeling, Blake.
No, I totally agree. People have to think twice about what they're getting involved in. It's certainly going to send a message. Yeah, do people trust this trust this administration or trust their superiors and their leaders? If they're left out in hostile territory, will they be rescued if things go wrong? And Benghazi certainly proved that, well, there might be more to this story here, maybe some motives for why they did not, but either way, certainly doesn't inspire confidence if you're, serving your country and knowing that, you might not be rescued if things go bad.
And you referenced motives. Why not? Let's toss a few out there since we still, 2 years in, we have no facts. What are some ideas that are being thrown around? Just ideas, possibilities at this point. What motivation could there have been to not go rescue our ambassador with his dead body being dragged through the streets after being tortured, former Navy SEALs getting killed? What could the possible motivation be to let this happen?
Well, I think the most likely one, and there is an article today out of InfoWars from Paul Joseph Watson. It says, why the White House is desperate to bury Benghazi. And it says the cover-up is about shielding the details of arms smuggling to terrorists in Syria. So that seems to be, there's a theory about whether they were trying to kidnap Ambassador Stevens, and then there's going to be some exchange for the blind sheik or whatever. But it appears that there were some arms smuggling going on in Libya. They were funding the Syrian rebels, basically al-qada militants, radical jihadists, and it was going down there. And apparently maybe Stevens was not happy about being a part of that. And, there was some hostile stuff going on, and then once things broke down, they just wanted them to die and bury all the evidence. Sounds crazy, maybe, I don't know. But, if that's the kind of thing that's going on, we do know that they wanted to overthrow Syria. We do know that there's radical jihadists that are basically taking over Syria, seem to have some interesting weaponry, including chemical weapons. So is that what our government is up to? I don't know. I hate to think that. But if that is the case and they wanted to, hide the evidence, that's what you would do, I guess, is you only have 4 of these guys. It's pretty easy to allow them to die, I suppose. But I guess they weren't counting on a couple of absolutely heroic Navy SEALs that were able to fend off, dozens of attackers, or who knows how many there were. And then ended up being about a 7 or 8 hour firefight, and it wasn't so easy to pull off. And so what could they do? And of course, it was right in front of an election as well. So the timing was not so good either. So I don't know. I could just check this article here. It says, amidst new revelations with the emails showing the Obama administration conspired to create a phony narrative, the true purpose behind the cover-up is being obfuscated. The fact that an annex near the U.S. Embassy was being used by the CIA to transfer surface-to-air missiles to terrorists in Syria. So, I can kind of zip through this article if you'd like, Brian, unless you would like to...
No, why don't you go ahead and zip through it? But before we do, let me make sure we're talking about the same thing. They're talking about running weapons from Libya through Turkey into Syria. Am I following the chain of command? I always screw this one up.
Well, yeah. I guess it doesn't really matter as long as whether it's going through Turkey or what have you. As long as they've been trying to arm these guys, and we kind of have that on record. They've been trying to push that war on Syria and get rid of Assad, and then it all became to light that who are we funding? These people are beheading people and burning down churches, and they're totally radical jihadists. And where are they getting all these weapons?
Now, wasn't al-qada the reason why the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, has been passed? Isn't that the reason why the Patriot Act has been passed? Two completely unconstitutional documents. that really aren't worth the paper they were vomited on, that we're signing away civil liberties under the guise of we have to be protected from these horrible people in al-Qaeda. They're Muslim extremists. They're radical jihadists. They will kill you unless we know everything that's going on in the world, and that means we're now going to read your emails, read your text messages, follow your GPS location. We're going to triangulate things. We're going to run all these, basically everything Edward Snowden told us. Wasn't that the disguise? Wasn't that the guise of why these things happened? That we had to sign away civil liberties to be protected from al-Qaeda? You're telling me that we're handing weapons to the people that we were told we had to give away our civil liberties to protect ourselves against, or else they would have their way and we wouldn't have civil liberties? I'm totally confused here.
Yeah, I guess if that's how they, it depends on how they want to run their foreign policy or what they want to do. And if they think Assad is a bigger threat than al-Qaeda, then they'll work with al-Qaeda to topple Assad, kind of a mutual enemy, I suppose.
So that's the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah, but in this case, no, it doesn't really make any sense. I mean, we toppled Gaddafi, and then now Libya has been run over by al-Qaeda, so none of this really makes sense. Of course, they also, took out Hosni Mubarak, and they put the Muslim Brotherhood in charge of Egypt. So, I mean, yeah, it's just... Was
the plan to get radical Islamists in positions of power, the Muslim Brotherhood and al-Qaeda? Is that Barack Hussein Obama's foreign policy, is to pretend he's not arming what we were told were the bad guys because they're better than the other bad guys? I mean, is that actually the core of this foreign policy? Is John Kerry's out there, the whole Israel-Palestine thing is way more confusing than I'm even willing to wade into the waters into, but a lot of calls this past week for John Kerry's resignation following some comments he made about Israel and Palestine and apartheid. But I mean, is that what Barack Obama's foreign policy is, to empower the Muslim Brotherhood and radical jihadists? That doesn't even sound... I don't know. I couldn't even make that up.
As long as they're willing to play ball, I guess, then that's okay. I guess if Assad's not going to play ball with how we want to run our foreign policy, then if they can find radical jihadists that they can play ball with, and that's okay. I mean, we've got a history of, allowing horrible dictatorships to, to rule over their people as long as they, do business with us. I mean, look at Saudi Arabia or, any number of South American countries. As long as they, that's pretty much the policy. So if we can exploit the labor and make a little money off the resources, then we don't really care so much about how the people are treated. So that's, it's pretty concerning stuff. And we don't really know exactly what's going on with Benghazi. This seems to be the most likely possibility if we're trying to find a good reason why these guys were allowed to die without rescue. I mean, could that be it? It's certainly, and they've already tried to openly fund al-Qaeda, and that doesn't seem to be very popular with the public. So I guess you can kind of try to sneak them the weapons through some crooked deals in a transitionary, I don't know, in a country that's in a state of flux after the fall of Gaddafi in Libya. So is it that far-fetched? Maybe not. I mean, we've done it before with Iran-Contra, so that looks like this could be the same thing. I mean, they were trying to, Justice Department was letting, weapons get into the hands of violent drug cartels with Fast and Furious. So as crazy as it sounds, it's really not as far-fetched as you'd think. And it's very alarming. And yeah, I don't want to have to cover stuff like this. It's totally crazy. This is not my government, and they need to answer for it. And that's all they got to do. If there's, of course, nothing to hide, then they should be able to just answer simply and give us a good explanation of what went wrong. But so far, it's only been stonewalling, and hopefully with some of these new subpoenas, we'll start to get some more, a new committee being set up, perhaps, hopefully being run by Trey Gowdy. That's a good sign, too. So hopefully we'll get some answers soon, because this kind of stuff just cannot happen anymore. If this is what our leadership is up to, then we need new leadership.
Absolutely, and I don't want to cover this crap either. I want to talk about the NBA playoffs. Tomorrow it's like a Final Four. You have 3 Game 7s. That's the first time I think that's the first time that's ever happened. That's pretty exciting. You got the NFL draft coming up in a week. Like it's the end of the week, man. You know, this is the unhappy hour. You sit down at the bar, belly up. What's up, guys? Hey, let's talk about some crap. Some frivolous stuff. Hey, did you see that reality show the other day? Hey, what about your local sporting team? Hey, how about that weather? Let's have a barbecue, eh? You know, like, I just want to kick it. I don't want to have to do this stuff.
I know what you mean, but at the same time, this is kind of one of the reasons we're in this position is because people have, you know, taken it easy for too long, not paid attention while the corruption just slowly grew around us, and now it's gotten to this overwhelming point. But I do know what you're saying. It'd be nice to, yeah, exactly, talk about, mock drafts, although that's kind of getting really annoying after a few weeks. Like, just ready for the draft to start and stop all the speculation, stop all the mock drafts are starting to drive me nuts, too.
Do you think people would pay attention if like, every, May 1st or May 10th or, whenever, I think it's next Thursday, the NFL draft happens. Do you think people would care more or less about an actual military draft as opposed to an NFL, a National Football League draft? Do you think people would care more or less if every year it was just a random ping pong ball lottery of, based on Social Security numbers, who from your family and which of your loved ones gets selected, recruited into a military draft? Do you think they'd care more or less about an actual draft as opposed to the NFL draft?
I think it'd be more. I think it'd be an incredible wake-up call if something like that ever happened again. That was a huge deal, of course, during the Vietnam War, and pretty alarming stuff. There was a huge backlash, and I don't think they'd try something like that again. I certainly hope not, but that would definitely be a wake-up call, and that would get a lot of people, that are more obsessed with the NFL draft to suddenly wake up because, they never know when there's going to be, their name could get called and they got to go, serve their country, and it might not be for the reasons they think, not for the reasons they should be going to a war, and that's for sure.
And I heard this interesting interview, and I put it up as our featured video of the day at thenewamericanmedia.com. It's an interview with Abby Martin and Immortal Technique. Really good conversation. I'm very excited to meet both of these characters next week. Really good stuff from what I've seen from both of them. And what Immortal Technique was talking about, he went to, I believe it was Afghanistan, and she asked, what message would you give? What would you like to say to people that don't really understand what's going on over there? And he said, essentially, you know what, maybe I'll just pull it. I'm actually going to pull that one up because I think it's so telling, and I think it's such a great advertisement for people to actually come on out to this festival. I'll tell you what, I interrupted you a second ago. You had the article in front of you. If you still have it, you said, you just kind of tear through it real quick. I think you said it was from InfoWars, kind of breaking down the details of this, and we went off on a tangent. Let me pull up this video in a second. We're talking with Blake the Eccentric Walley here on Agree to Disagree. And you can check out Blake every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday from noon to 1:30 p.m. Pacific on freedomizerradio.com. And he's on Twitter at Eccentric99, has a webpage, eccentricperspective.com. It's a nice archive of some stuff. And you can sign up for the podcast by searching Eccentric Perspective on iTunes. So let me actually get this video because it's relevant to what we were talking about. I'll pull it up in a second here. But, go through some more of these details because I'm still confused as to what in the hell was this thing all about in Benghazi? Why did they not send reinforcements? It's almost like it was a hit that they wanted Ambassador Stevens dead. Why did they want him dead if that's the case? So what else is going on in this article?
All right, well, I'll tell you, lost in the haze of claims and counterclaims is the real reason why the White House is desperate to prevent the attack from coming under any further scrutiny because it would likely reveal an arms smuggling scandal that could rival Iran-Contra. So in May last year, Senator Rand Paul was one of the first to speculate that the truth behind Benghazi was linked to an illicit arms smuggling program that saw weapons being trafficked to terrorists in Syria as part of the United States proxy war against the Assad regime. He's got a quote. He says, "Well, I've always suspected that, though I have no evidence that maybe we were facilitating arms leaving Libya going through Turkey into Syria." That's what Paul told CNN, adding that he never quite understood the cover-up, as if it was intentional or incompetence. And it was about that same time that the U.S. State Department hired an al-Qaeda offshoot organization, the February 17th Martyrs Brigade, to defend the Benghazi mission months before the attack. And Senator Paul was vindicated less than 3 months later when it emerged that the CIA had been subjecting its operatives to monthly polygraph tests in an effort to keep a lid on details of the arms smuggling operation being leaked. And on August 1st, CNN reported that dozens of CIA agents were on the ground in Benghazi during the attack, and that the polygraph tests were mandated in order to prevent operatives from talking to Congress or the media about a program that revolved around, quote, secretly helping to move surface-to-air missiles out of Libya through Turkey and into the hands of Syrian rebels. Now, although the Obama administration is now openly arming the Syrian rebels, it has been keen to stress that such weaponry has been restricted to so-called moderate fighters, despite the fact that it is now widely acknowledged that al-Qaeda is by far the most potent fighting force in Syria and indeed commands all the other militant groups. The real truth behind Benghazi is likely to reveal that the Obama administration knowingly and deliberately provided surface-to-air missiles and other weapons to the most bloodthirsty al-Qaeda jihadists in Syria, who are now busy crucifying Christians while promising to bring their reign of terror to the West. I'll just make a quick side note. When I say crucifying Christians, that's a hyperlink on this article, linking to a Michael Snyder article that just came out today or last night about just the brutal things that these people are doing to the Christians in the area.
Like what? What are they doing?
Let me see if I can, I will pull this up, but just to finish, there's just like two more lines of this article. So it says, if a proper investigation into the Benghazi attacks uncovered concrete evidence of this arms smuggling scandal, Obama would face impeachment and many members of his administration would be facing long stretches in prison. And that is the real reason why the White House is desperate to bury Benghazi. So that seems like a pretty good reason to me. So there's an article today it came out last night from Michael Snyder. It says, why is the media silent about the crucifixion of Christians by radical jihadists? So, and it's good for good reason. So here is something that happened in Syria.
They're literally crucifying Christians, you're saying?
Yes, this happened recently. I mean, there've been beheading people. Was one story about whether eating this guy's heart. I mean, these are some brutal people that don't play games. If you don't, submit to, their version of Islam and you're a Christian, then they will murder you, and they're not exactly nice about it. There is a group of jihadists recently that terrorized an area of Syria. I can tell you this is really awful stuff, but I can tell you about a recent story here, Brian, if you'd like to know what this is all about.
I already regret asking you, so yeah. I mean, but that's the point. I watched the beheading of Nicholas Berg. I needed to see it outside of the Iraq War, after September 11th. We need to know how bad things are. There's, you guys want sugar-coated bull stuff. Wow, yeah. I'm feeling very loose with the lips today. No, if you want sugar-coated BS, you can find that everywhere else. But tell us what's going on, Blake. I already regret asking, but this sounds like something we need to know if true.
Yeah, well, here you go. This is an account from something that happened in Syria recently. This is from Sister Rajida, we'll say. She's a former head of a Christian school in Damascus, and she explained the horrifying event. They gave a choice of Islam or death to many Christians in Syria on Tuesday during the height of the conflict in Syria. She said many Syrian Christians have been affected by the atrocities taking place in the Christian population of Syria, an area once known for the harmonious coexistence of Muslims and Christians. Now, according to Sister Rajida, the Muslims came to the two young boys, two youths, and said, "So, you want to die as a teacher in whom you trust? Okay, well, please choose. Either renounce your faith or you will be crucified." So the boys both refused to renounce their faith in Jesus and were martyred because of it. One of them was crucified in front of his father, who was then killed. And the nun went on to tell the radio station that the jihadists entered the city of Malula and started killing men, women, and children. And according to a report, they killed and played football with the heads of those murdered. And it even goes further. Lastly, it says, she said that the killers also took, oh, God, this is awful. You don't want to sugarcoat it. Here you go. They took pregnant women and pulled out their babies from their wombs and hung them from a tree by their umbilical cords. So, yeah, you want to know what's going on in Syria? You want to know the people that we're giving weapons to in Syria? These are the people, absolutely out of control, and the media is completely silent about it.
Why in the world would they be silent, Blake?
Because these are the people that we're arming. These are the people that we want to overthrow the Assad regime. And so people are going to find out about that and be going, oh, my God, what are you doing? What is our foreign policy? Is Assad that bad? So I guess if he's allies with Iran or he gets along with Russia, I guess, then that's bad enough where we can give some weaponry to these crazy people that will, I guess, do our dirty work for us. But, of course, they had the chemical weapons incident, which they could never prove actually done by Assad, which they immediately blamed for. So, we've got this is the foreign policy, and this is why we have to start asking questions. This is why we need to investigate Benghazi and figure this out and get to the bottom of this. Because if our administration is doing this in our good names, then they have to be dealt with. We can't allow this kind of leadership. We can't allow this kind of foreign policy in this country. That's really all I got to say about it. It's really disturbing.
This is impeachable, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what they're saying. And if it's true that they are arming these radical jihadists and using our ambassador to do so, I mean, yeah, these people are going to be going to jail for a very long time. And it's going to be the end of the Obama administration. And it's also going to be, I can only imagine what it's going to do to the so-called, liberal mainstream media, who's kind of been complicit in protecting and shielding Obama and acting like this is a big phony scandal from the get-go. They're going to come under scrutiny for why they weren't doing their job to make sure this kinds of things don't happen.
Well, like you said, it was the day the liberal media died a couple of years, what was it, a year or two ago?
October 24th of 2012. That's when the first group of emails came out on Benghazi, showing that, there was a connection, that they knew what was going on and they did nothing about it. And the media seemed to reacted very unusually that day. They either tried to ignore it or started freaking out about it. And then after that, it was clear that they were trying to protect Obama as much as they could. It was right in front of the election. And obviously that would have destroyed. I mean, that was October 24th of 2012, and then the election was November 3rd. So you could only imagine they would have basically handed the election to Romney, and Obama, Hillary, and a lot of big people would have been off to jail or impeached or any number of things that would have just totally rocked the foundation of this country. So,
I mean, I'm wondering at this point if treason is in order. You talk about Fast and Furious with Eric Holder, who's on record saying that we need to brainwash people against guns. not a couple of times, every day in the schools to brainwash people against guns. Involved in Operation Fast and Furious in connection with the Obama administration to run very deadly guns to all of the worst people on the northern Mexico, southern U.S. border, and border agent Brian Terry's dead. You have the possibility that this could be an arms smuggling situation out of Libya through Turkey into Syria to arm al-qada and the people that are killing innocent people and crucifying and kicking their heads around like soccer balls and all the other horrible stuff you talked about. I mean, at some point, we're so far beyond Watergate. Watergate doesn't even hold a candle to this. This is a very... It's time we get answers on it. I am so sick and tired of waiting. And there's one more point. I won't dwell on it. I just wanted to say it real quick, and then I want to get to this clip from Immortal Technique and Abby Martin. Was just that blaming a YouTube video. As we're wondering if the foreign policy is to arm the Muslim Brotherhood and get radical Islamists who want everyone to be their way or they're going to kill everyone else. I'm sorry, Christians don't do that. Okay, you can say the Crusades. Look, I don't do that. I was raised Christian. I don't do that. I don't know people that do that. That's not a world we're going for in 2014. That's the exact opposite of what we're going for in 2014. But blaming a YouTube video, that does a couple of things. If you blame, this is a spontaneous reaction to horrible YouTube video. YouTube video. I don't know why I made him do that 3 times, but that's basically saying be careful. If you speak out against Islam, you're going to die, or we're going to come get you. We're going to come throw you in jail. And hey, it also says, well, of course what they did was wrong. But you insulted Muhammad. What do you expect? I mean, this is what happened. This is what it looks like when you speak out against Islam or make fun of Islam. It's a very insidious, sneaky, underhanded way of saying, yeah, you got freedom of speech, but there's certain things you still shouldn't say. And here's an example. 4 people are dead in Benghazi because of a video that was offensive, so don't be offensive. We have the right to be offensive with the First Amendment. Christians get made fun of more than almost any other group I can imagine right now. It's like you can't even make fun of... You can't make fun of anyone. You can't make racial jokes. You can't make fat jokes. You can't make woman jokes. You can't make handicap jokes. You can't make jokes about anything. But Christians are still getting their asses kicked. It's like the one last place where it's safe to make fun of people. So blaming this on a YouTube video, that in itself does about 6 disgusting things as well. But I don't want to spend too much time on that. Just want to get to this clip here because we're talking about foreign policy and how confusing it is. Please forgive me, I didn't pull this up in advance, but this is 2 people who are going to be at the United We Stand Festival May 10th at UCLA's Pauley Pavilion in Los Angeles, California. The United We Stand Festival. 2 people that are going to be there, Immortal Technique and Abby Martin. I believe we're right around the point where Abby Martin starts asking Immortal Technique about his experience in Afghanistan and what we need to know about foreign policy, because this is chilling.
Iraq's elections were this week. Barely anyone noticed. You've traveled to another country ravaged by a war that no one pays attention to anymore in Afghanistan. You mentioned that you helped build an orphanage there. After talking to local Afghans on the ground, getting that perspective, what message do you think that they would want to send and relay to the U.S. government and the people here?
Well, I mean, I went there in 2009, where there were a huge amount of civilian casualties. There were drone operations. There were a lot of people that were very dissatisfied with the United States role. They feel like they did the same thing anybody else did when they came there, that they came there under the guise of stabilizing the region and stabilizing the country, the same way the USSR backed the government of Dr. Najib, saying, oh, we're going to have reforms, we're going to do this. And little by little, do people notice, well, your reforms benefit corporations that you're making money with. You're taking natural resources out of the country. You want to control more and more things about our lives. Go harass your own citizens. Leave us in peace. And, if you're not going to leave us in peace, then we're not going to fight you because we're the Taliban. We're going to fight you because you're in our country, and we don't want you here anymore. And it's not your decision of whether you get to stay here or not. There's no threat here anymore. You know, bin Laden has been annihilated. The threat that we have is now an inner threat in which, see, I think this is the part that people don't understand. You know, we have a new Star Wars movie coming out, and I always remember this one scene from Return of the Jedi where he's like, I'm sorry, from the Empire Strikes Back, where he's like, I don't want the Emperor's prize damaged. You'll test this machine on someone else. And I feel that's what Americans don't realize is happening, that we're testing this machine on other people. You know, human rights, civil rights, let's test it on immigrants. That way, people will say, well, they're illegal human beings. It doesn't matter what we do to them. We can put them in these internment camps. We can put them in these FEMA camps, as long as no, you know, well-to-do white American citizens are there for no reason other than speaking against the government. Oh, but it's okay for someone that works like a slave to do that and then have all their money confiscated, thrown into prison, ripped apart from their family. I don't think you see it. That's what my message is for them. You don't see what they're doing. They're testing it on people that aren't the perfect candidates. You know, people forget that Rosa Parks was not the first person to be ripped off the bus or to have that sort of incident. There was someone before, but people didn't, or the NAACP didn't think she was a quote-unquote perfect candidate.
Rosa Parks, I mean, of course she wasn't the first person, but of course the establishment wants you to believe that revolution is not a process, that it was just a moment in time, and Rosa Parks was that moment in time.
I can peel back over here. Like I said, I made this this 13-minute conversation, the featured video at thenewamericanmedia.com. But essentially, what Immortal Technique, this musician, this conscious rapper, hip hop artist, he's talking about basically this spy apparatus, this, you know, the National Defense Authorization Act, the Patriot Act, you know, loss of the Fourth Amendment, loss of the 10th Amendment, loss of the First Amendment, loss of the Second Amendment. Everything that's happening right now is to restrict, like we're their servants. We're not their servants. They serve us. And if they step out of line, they need to be thrown behind bars, not us. We're not cattle. But I think what Immortal Technique was saying there is that they're testing out internment camps in other countries. They're testing this out on the weakest on the planet, you know, whether it's the undocumented, the illegal alien, what have you. The machine that's about to be flicked on, that's going to be turnkey tyranny. We're all the people who have been already pre-identified that are not going to go along with this new program. We're already marked on that list. People called me crazy for saying that our cell phones are being tracked and our emails are being read. And guess what? That's not the case. That's absolutely right. Thank you, Edward Snowden. But I think what he's getting at here is that this is being tested. They're ironing the kinks out before they try it on us, the American citizens. And it kind of gets me back. The reason I thought of this, Blake, is because we were talking about football and basketball, is that, you know, we'd rather be talking about other things, but you and I both know that if we allow this to happen somewhere, it's going to happen to us next. And I'm not allowing that. I'm not going to go along with that ride. You know, I don't care how. I mean, evil's evil. I'm either going to fight it today or fight it tomorrow. But I think it gets stronger if you fight it tomorrow. So we might as well go and do something today. And that's what just freaked me out, was just hearing that put into such a stark perspective that, you know, we are trying this tyranny out in other places before we bring it home to the Emperor, like you were saying with the Star Wars reference. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, this seems to be the what they've been planning all along, and you know, this is pretty alarming. Obviously, and then people just, you know, need to start paying more attention to that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious right now. It's all in your face. A lot of people aren't happy about that war, and they're turning that against us. So you're looking at the NSA. You just had Snowden saying that they're spying on us more than they're spying on anybody else, and why is that? You know, so a lot of these, you're talking about these administration that could be going to jail if they're implicated in this Benghazi thing, or any other number of scandals, or any number of other things that are going on, and all the corruption that's going on in D.C. At some point, the people are going to say enough's enough, and a lot of these people could very well be going to jail, facing criminal charges. So what do they do to counteract that? Well, they try to turn the, you know, they try to build a police state. They put the NSA on everybody. They watch everybody, and they're going to try to teach Department of Homeland Security that the American people are the enemy. They're going to train everybody at the airports, and they're going to militarize the police. And so they're trying to turn that all against us. And so we need to be aware of that. And they're always attacking the Second Amendment. They don't want the people armed. They don't want them rising up. So I mean, they'll exploit every little school shooting or something like that as a reason why they have to take everybody's guns away or throw them into a database or what have you. And so, yeah, they're trying to chill that, or if they're going to try to control the internet, and if people are getting away from the media, they're not believing the things that are being told to them, then they're just going to try to control the internet and control the message. So that's what's going on. There is a big awakening happening, and they're scared, obviously, and that's their response. And I think that's really all I have on that. So
I got two quick things. I know we only have you for a couple more minutes. Do we have you for a couple more minutes? I got two quick clips I want to play.
Just a couple. Oh, we have clips. All right, yeah, because I've only got a few minutes, and then I've got to tweet out all these stories we've been discussing here.
Here, tweet a couple in the next 2 minutes. I want to play this. Jay Carney can't answer why the supposed non-Benghazi email was included in the batch and that was delivered from the Freedom of Information request. If you want to tweet a couple out, I just want to play. It's just 2 minutes.
Ed, it's your turn.
If the email was not about Benghazi, as you said yesterday and you say again today, why did the White House turn it over to a conservative group seeking information about Benghazi?
You would have to ask the State Department about how they responded to FOIA requests. I would, again, point you to the fact that, I mean, all you have to do is read it, Ed, right? Top line points, goals, that kind of stuff. The only mention of Benghazi in the email is a question about what's your response to a story by the Independent newspaper in the UK that says we had intelligence 48 hours in advance of the attack that was ignored. Not aware of any actionable intelligence was the answer. And then what does it do? It cuts and pastes the same line from the CIA talking points that, again, was what Ambassador Rice used.
So if it's not about Benghazi, why turn it over in a Benghazi suit? It seems
you would have to ask State Department about their process for responding to FOIA requests. Again, you can just read it and then decide for yourself. As many people have now said and written, like, this is a conspiracy in theory and search of a conspiracy.
When a conservative group comes in and says, we want Benghazi documents, the administration says, this is not a Benghazi document, so we're not turning it over, right?
Again, I don't, like, this is a State Department FOIA request response. Yeah, but again, whether it was released Monday or a week ago Monday or whatever, it doesn't change the fundamental facts about the so-called talking points, which, despite great efforts by your news organization and others, have been, proven not to be a conspiracy. Mike Morrell, the deputy director of the CIA, served at the CIA for decades under administrations of both parties. Said that he felt no political influence when he was directing the composition of those points, and it was based on what he believed was the best analysis of what happened at the time. And in the very first sentence of those points, it said currently available information in a situation which, by the way, was incredibly murky and chaotic, halfway around the world, not in a capital, but in a regional city at a diplomatic facility. So,
are you buying Jay Carney, Blake, at all? Does he seem transparent?
No, there's no reason to believe anything that Jay Carney says. He's there to basically protect the administration, to give a line of BS to all the reporters. And so, no, he really doesn't have any credibility at this point. It's pretty laughable, and it's been kind of funny watching him squirm this week under the scrutiny of John Carl, Ed Henry, that have been giving him a tough time in the White House pressers this week, and hopefully we'll start seeing more reporters doing the same thing. Absolutely. Final clip here, 54 seconds long. How do you pronounce his name? Tommy what? Vietor? Vietor? Sure. Yeah, former NSC spokesman Tommy Vietor talking with Fox News' Brett Baer. This will put a nice little bow on things, and you got to see his face, how his eyes are shifting around, and the smirks and the grins as if people aren't dead here, and just
Here, if you want to know what the liberal media thinks and some of those on the left and their attitudes toward Benghazi, just take a listen to this brief exchange.
Talking about. According to the emails and the timeline, the CIA circulates new talking points after they've removed a mention of al-Qaeda.
Yeah.
And then at 6:21, the White House, you, add a line about the administration warning of September 10th of social media reports calling for demonstrations. True?
I believe so.
Did you also change attacks to demonstrations in the talking points?
Maybe. I don't really remember.
You don't remember?
Dude, this was like 2 years ago. We're still talking about the most mundane
it is the thing
process
that everybody is talking about.
We're talking about the process of editing talking points. That's what bureaucrats do all day long. Your producers edit scripts multiple times.
The key part is attacks to demonstrations.
Yeah.
Did you do that?
No. What is the question? Did I edit
CIA talking
No, I didn't do it. Wait, what's the
It
question?
was edited from attacks to demonstrations.
No, Michael Morales testified.
You don't remember?
Dude, this was like 2 years ago. We're still talking about the most mundane
it is the thing
process
that everybody is talking about.
We're talking about.
Dude, that was 2 years ago. Blake, final thoughts on Benghazi as we move forward. I mean, do you really expect that we're going to get some answers here? Or it's just going to be like pulling teeth? Are we finally ever going to bring justice to the families who were just completely hung out to dry as their loved ones were killed over there and nobody sent help for them? Are we ever going to get to the bottom of this, do you think?
Yes. And I'm going to be maybe I don't want to say I'm optimistic, but I don't know. I mean, it took 2 years to bring down Nixon. So we're looking at, he's saying, oh, it was almost 2 years ago. Actually, it was about a year and a half ago. Yeah. So, and we just had this bombshell revelation come out. We got the smoking gun, if you will. That's now they're starting to subpoena some more people. We have this new committee. We finally got John Boehner finally going to do his job. He's appointing a special Benghazi committee that people have been, trying to get for for about a year and a half. Waiting for Boehner to do something, and now he's going to do it. And now you can't even criticize Darrell Issa for those friends on the left that always want to rip on that. Now he looks like he's going to put Trey Gowdy in charge, who I am a really big fan of. I think he would make a terrific attorney general in the next administration. I think a lot of people feel that way as well. He's very good, very smart, good guy. It'll be interesting to see how the left tries to attack and spin this, but it looks like they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar with this email now. They're linking this whole thing together. They finally have the email saying how they were going to, needed to brief Susan Rice about that they wanted to, switch the narrative. They didn't want it to be about, they wanted to switch it and make it about a YouTube video and not an actual terror event. And it's pretty obvious that they all did it just before the election to protect the president. And also, you got Paul Joseph Watson's, and you got whistleblower Tosh Plumlee. You've got others coming out and saying there's probably a drug or an arms smuggling operation going on there. So, I mean, they can't run away forever. You've got John Kerry about to be subpoenaed. It's just, you're going to see more and more stuff. So, at least there's a development. So, I mean, obviously, little clown Vietor wants it to go away, but it ain't going to happen. And there's going to be, these people also have a lot to lose. But like I said, it's not just the administration. It's people in the media that weren't doing their job, that have been out playing defense for the president, that are also going to get scrutinized. I know a lot of reporters and journalists went to jail during Watergate because they were probably covering up for Nixon. So, they've got left to lose too. Someone like Vietor, his career is going to be over if the truth comes out on Benghazi. So he's going to try to spin, but it's desperate. It's grasping at straws, and they can't run forever.
That Vietor looks like a smug little weasel. I'm really excited to see what happens with that jerk. Dude, it still matters. All right, Blake, thank you very much for joining us. We'll check you out in about a week over here at the UCLA event. Looking forward to it, man. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, there he goes, Blake Walley, everybody. Real quick, check out our homepage, thenewamericanmedia.com. Follow us on Twitter at American_media_, on YouTube.com/thenewamericanmedia. Click subscribe and search The New American Media with spaces in between and like our page. Thank you for helping us celebrate our 3-year anniversary.